Right. So I've already sort of gotten fancied up because it's kind of hot and I don't have any more engagements for today. But this is August the 10th and I am in Windhoek in Namibia. And today I went to the Zuiderhof Primary School, which is about 10 minutes from my hotel. But this morning I didn't have enough of the supplies that I needed for the lessons because the last school I was at, I used them all. So I had to go to the mall this morning to find a stationery shop to find the things that I need to do my lessons. And so I was unfortunately, as usual, a little late to the lesson for the science club of Zuiderhof Primary School. But that's okay. They got to look at the flip books while I set up. Um, but it was another kind of really interesting experience. Already since I got it to Namibia last night at super late. I think we landed at 8:30 at night. But I didn't know you had to have lots of reasons for immigration. And they were like, oh, didn't you have a letter to say that you can come? And I was like, I mean, I have all these emails I can show you about a school I'm going to go to and lessons I'm going to give. And I literally am carrying a shopping bag full of the solar system with me. And eventually my kids got so weird that I think he was just like, yeah, fine. um, but that took like 20 minutes. And then when I was trying to get the car, because I had to rent a car because this, like, basically this is very, it's not rural, but it's like very spread out. The Windhoek is the capital, so it's kind of a city, but the airport was like 45 minutes drive from the city. So I got a car so I can go around, but they had 2 or 3 power outages, like really quick ones in a row while I was trying to finish the paperwork to get the car. So it took a very long time as well. And it was just like, this is so badly timed. Already the airport was trying to close at 9 and I got to the guy at like 8:55 or something. And he's like, oh, okay, we'll just do this, blah, 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 blah. And then the power came back on. And it was like, oh my God. In the end, we got the car. It was fine. I drove in pitch black, amazing darkness on a 2-lane highway, 45 minutes to the city, occasionally being blinded by people's high beams because they don't seem to know that they have to turn them off when they're coming directly at you. But that was fine. Seeing signs that were like warning warthogs and like warning kudu jumping into the road. And like, I was like, okay, it's just how it is here. And finally to the hotel at night, and we got to get to sleep. And so this morning, again, no supplies, or not enough supplies. Went to the mall, got the supplies, turned up 15 minutes late. But then as I was setting up, they were like, oh, we forgot the HDMI cable. And I should just bring my own HDMI cable. I can start without projecting. She's like, no, my grandma lives nearby. She'll bring the HDMI cable. So we waited for the HDMI cable. I think in the end, we must have got started at like 11 or 11:15 when we were supposed to start at 10. But there were sort of less kids than was expected. There were supposed to be like 50 kids, but I think there were like 35 or so. So that was okay because actually then I didn't have to split them into 2 groups. So that was nice. We could actually save time that way. So we just went through like the long form solar system lesson. These are kids, they're in a science club. They're already into this. They're all super interested and they all wanted to be planets. They're all kind of crazy and they all learned some facts. And I showed them the new JWST pictures, well, new-ish, of Uranus and Neptune so they could see the rings. And they were in awe. And then I told them about other things like JWST can see, like exoplanet atmospheres and like ice in other places and other cool things. And they were like, oh, I never heard of that. The one thing, well, there are actually 2 things that were really different. One is I updated my solar system since the the schools I've been going to down here in Africa generally have had larger class sizes than in the US or the Netherlands, more like 30 or 35 than 20 or 25. So I added a bunch of objects and missions to my solar system lesson. And so for the first time, we had Bennu, Triton, the moon of Neptune, and a few more missions. So I added in Juno because some kid asked me specifically for Juno. So I'm like, okay, that was like 3 cities ago. But I thought, if he likes Juno, I'll add it in. And then 2 upcoming missions. I got Europa Clipper in there, and this was actually amazing. When I was arranging Jupiter and it's for big moons, I also put Europa Clipper to go around Europa. So we had Clipper going around Europa, going around Jupiter, going around the sun. And it was like the most fantastic chaos you've ever seen. I really liked it. And our Europa was the littlest kid. She was like a 4-year-old, but there with her mom. And she was adorable. And she really liked being a little moon. And the other mission I added was Dragonfly, so that I could tell them all about Titan and how cool it is. And I feel like there was one more, but I can't remember it from my head right now. I'm sure I'll remember at some point. But so we had enough for everybody, finally. And we got to do the full solar system, except I cut them off after like an hour and a half of doing the solar system lesson at the dwarf planets, because it was just like, I think we've got too much chaos. Everybody almost like died, like running around being the solar system when we got up to like Neptune, because there's so many missions. And I had like Bennu going around in like a weird way between like Earth and the asteroid belt, and Cassini like paparazziing Saturn and crashing into it, and it was beautiful chaos, and I really loved it. And so we had to finish, and that had already been super late, and so I let them do questions. And so always there's questions about aliens, and so that I got to drift into astrobiology and tell them about how that works as a science and all the different things that we do. Origin of life side, and what the biologists do, and the importance of artists, and the importance of people who can really talk to other people. And it's sort of like, this is not even soft skills, this is like the side requirements of doing good science, like being a good collaborator and being a good communicator, things that I believe in but not necessarily everyone does. And then they asked some questions about constellations and things, so I let them have the sort of constellation lesson. And they all wanted to go home already, and then they saw the constellations and the stars that I have. And they were like, oh, okay, we have to stay and do this. So they all stayed for another half an hour to an hour to make constellations. They wanted to make the exact ones, because I have, you can see on my website in the constellation lesson, I've accurately made some, not a lot of constellations, but some constellations with the correct sort of star types and sizes. And so they wanted to do that too. They wanted to have exactly the right star types and sizes. So I'm there like punching out specific sizes of stars so that we have enough. And a handful of kids even like left behind. They were like, oh, I love Orion so much. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want to see what Orion Nebula looks like? So it was structured and unstructured at the same time, but it was still really fun. And the kids who wanted more got more. I brought everything. So I brought everything that they could have, and I made sure that they got some. And the teacher who brought me here, who was my host, she's really into Saturn. So I gave her the last of my sort of Cassini swag that I got at Goddard 4 years ago. So she got my last Saturn eclipse sticker, and like some Titan trading cards and things like that, just to make sure that she was definitely well looked after. And just in the end, like, Namibia is a very interesting place. It's very sparsely populated apparently, and so it's a really different vibe from Cape Town, which is kind of like LA, kind of stressful in places and touristy in places. But Namibia and Windhoek in particular is just like the one place that people live nearby, and there's not a lot of people, and it's kind of like almost like suburbia in California is what it feels like. There's like a big mall and then some residential area and then nothing. Um, just hills or desert or something. And so it's a really different vibe from Cape Town, at least. It reminded me a little bit more of the rural areas of South Africa, but much less populated. So it's an interesting experience. I'm currently trying to get approval to give a lesson at Nankuse tomorrow, which is a conservation area, and they have a special like nonprofit funded primary school for local children, and it's sort of in the middle of nowhere, so I think they're not a lot of them. The whole school has 80 students, I think. And so if I can get the right approvals, then I can give a lesson there tomorrow. We wanted to go there anyway because they have like an animal conservation center, and apparently they have like cheetahs and stuff, and we're like, oh, that's cool. And when I was reading about it, I saw that they have this primary school, and I was like, oh, cool, two birds with one stone. You know, I can go there and see cheetahs and also give lessons and make some kids happy. So apparently there's a little bureaucracy to deal with, but I find out soon if that is a problem or not. And so this video is already really long, but I hope you like hearing about Namibia. So that's the end of my stuff on August the 10th. Bye.